All right, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 7. Man, 7 episodes. Here we go. So I'm gonna start this one by just saying, you know, I've come a long way since the first video. I'm a little bit more comfortable in front of the camera, and it's a lot harder than you think it would be initially. I'll just video all the stuff that I do, and I'll put it out there, and it'll be all fine and dandy, and everybody will love it. But it's actually pretty time consuming to try to get good angles, to film everything, to really illustrate what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then you gotta somehow try to make it funny or entertaining along the way and not boring. And it's easy to lose track of all that in the middle of shooting all this video time and time again. And then in the editing process to keep it live and keep it moving and still show all the important stuff that I want to show, to let you know what you have to go through to do it, to do the whole thing. I'm kind of changed how I'm videoing now. I'm trying to edit out a lot of the boring stuff right now with all these videos that I've already shot. But all the new videos that I'm shooting, which will probably be 9 or 10 maybe by the time I've got a lot of footage right now. I'm still trying to mow through. But hopefully by episode 9 or 10, basically I'm trying to get more to the point of this is what I need to do and this is how I'm gonna do it. And then instead of showing you all the small grinding and cutting and all the little woolly bully stuff that I do in the middle, and then just kind of go into, okay, here's where we're at, and just touch on the high points of how we got there. Hopefully my editing will continue to get better, and I'm trying to find some good free audio tracks that I can download to put with some of this to make it a little better as well. I appreciate everybody that watches, you know, whatever 2 or 3 of you that do watch, whatever, thanks, I appreciate it. Just bear with me. I mean, we're building a cool truck here, and it takes time, especially with me. Both of my kids play travel sports, and you know, I coach both of them, and throughout the week we have to practice 3-4 days out of the week. I don't get a lot of time when we're in season to build on this thing, so it really slows down for me this time of year. I'm still working, just not as much, and I have a lot of crap to do away from Project War Machine too. So nonetheless, without further ado, episode 7, here we go. Finally, so there it is. Sitting at stock height right now for the 2000 model 450, but there it sits. Got the firewall finally all fitted in there the way I want. Back of the cab I had to raise up just a little bit to get where I wanted. You see, she sits in there. Nice, it actually fit together really good once I got everything trimmed apart enough. Obviously I've got to rebuild all this now, but that's a big hurdle jump now. All the making it fit from there is not too bad. I just got to get all the metal work done. That's time consuming, but not super difficult. Now I got to start working on getting all that fitted in, fill that space in, which is going to start with you see these shiny welds here and here. Essentially, this entire section, you see where it splits right here. This section is attached to the lower support, the structure, where the bolt goes through, which actually bolts it to the frame mounts. Obviously, as you can see, I'm going to have to cut the frame mounts off for the body and move them forward. See if I can get this flipped up so I can show you. Let's see. Alright, there you go. So you can kind of see right there how all that runs. I'm gonna cut that whole support free with that section of floor. I'm gonna cut it apart independently from this, get it mounted and fitted in the back of the cab. Then I'll have to see as far as where I want the seat to position inside the truck, where I'm going to mount that center section. So I'm going to set to cutting that apart right now, and we'll be back. All right, well there she is. That is that back cross member that goes underneath the floor. There's where the body bolt goes through, and right over there, that hole, that's the other one. This is by far the heaviest chunk of the floor. That dude weighed a lot more than I was kind of expecting it to. But it's all cut out, cleaned up, ready to stick in there. I just took plasma cutter, cut the body mounts off of the frame on each side. I'm kind of letting them hang out on the ground right there for a minute. They're a shade warm, as you can imagine. Also, if you remember from earlier, I said that this floor was about 6 inches too long to go inside the 77 cab in stock form. So obviously this is what's left of what we cut out of the back. I used the spot weld or the belt sander to cut all these because I know I'm gonna have to take a cut back here on the back of this. I may actually even just get rid of this chunk altogether and just make a new section. These I drilled out, that way I could go over and just plug weld them back up if I do use that part when the time comes. Now there again, 6 inches longer, I get me 1 inch right here. I use basically this little ruler right here, just laid it along the side of the edge there. That way it will fit, it should fit pretty, as long as I do a pretty decent job of cutting it, it should fit back against that piece of the stock floor and firewall that's already in the truck. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that cut off and work on getting the, I'm gonna try to get this piece set in there and go ahead and get the body mounts, see if I've got to do any trimming on them, depending on if the frame gets wider or narrower, right where it's gonna sit. This piece is, I'm planning for this edge right here to sit right against the back of the cab. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it set in place, kind of roughly sitting in place. I'm gonna go ahead and put the bolts through it and bolt the lower body mounts to it. That way it gives me a good relation as to where I want them, where I'm gonna need to put the body mounts on the frame. So I'll work on getting that stuff kind of laid out. Once I get it kind of sitting in place in there, we'll come back. All right, so here we are. You can see I got that cross member. It's kind of just sitting in there right now, just kind of propped up roughly, kind of in an initial position, I guess. That way I can look and see some of the areas where I need to kind of trim to make it fit a little bit better the way I want. I'm gonna have to cut this flange off right here. I'll cut that off, that way I can come out to here and just basically weld a new flange on that I'll reach over all the way to the inside of the cab here. Also, I got to looking, and you can see this is flat here. This is like a 90-degree flat angle. That's where the old pinch weld for the windshield used to be. You see that line that I got marked there all the way across? I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut that pinch weld off. I've got marked still the A, B, and C where the attachment points for the dash were across there, and that's roughly, I'm gonna cut a 1/2 inch off the top there because it'll make it easier for me to make a new bracket that will weld to this and weld to this pinch weld here beneath the windshield for the 77. So I'm gonna cut that off and then take a look at it. I may try to go ahead and see if I can let the cab down just a little bit more to make this bracket here. Any little bit that I can bring the cab down more, it's just gonna make it that much easier when I get ready to do the suspension to get this thing as low as I want. So that's what I'm about to do now. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut that flange off of there, see if I can let the cab down just a little bit more, or if I need to just come back to right where I'm at, that's fine too. It'll work right where it is. So I'm gonna cut that off, try to let the cab down and see where I wanna get it positioned. Then once I get that done, then I'm gonna come back and I've got to pull this section, this cross member out, cut that flange off on either side, do a little bit of trim work on it so it'll kind of fit in here the way that I want. I've got to clean up the mounts. You see I bolted the mounts to that cross member and they're just kind of sitting against the frame right now roughly. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit. That way when I put it back in, hopefully it'll all fit in there real nice and I'll be able to kind of tack it in place and be able to start laying out this center section of my floor where my seat will have to sit. So I'm gonna get to work on that and we'll be back. All right, so finally got everything set into the way I want, trimmed it back just enough so that I could come through. I cut me a piece of 20, I believe it's 24 gauge metal. Made me a little flange here. It laps all the way up onto the factory pinch weld right here for the windshield, and it'll go down, and it's going to go actually right behind this section of the factory 2000 model firewall. I'll take and I'll pop holes in the factory pinch weld up here, and then I will actually pop holes in the 2000 model dash right here. That way I can plug weld all the pieces all the way across. Those are just all done. This side's done. I just took them off just for demonstration. But obviously you want to always weld to the thicker piece of metal. That way you don't have to overheat the thin piece to get a good weld on it. So I'm going to take this down. I'm going to take that metal down now. I'm going to raise the cab back up off of it. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to clean up all the metal on the inside right here on the A-pillar on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and rebuild the inside of the A-pillar right here. That way the next time I let it down, all I have to do is make all my flange material to reattach the 2000 model firewall to the 77. So we'll finally start marrying this thing together, start doing a little welding. I'm excited. It's been a little while coming. I know for y'all it's really just been a couple minutes, but it's been several weeks in this process for me. So here we go. We'll be back with hopefully some new progress. All right, well, got most everything cleaned up and ready to go. I just want to show you something on this this flange I originally drilled out. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that or not. I'm kind of thinking I might kind of do like a little overlap deal from the inside of the jamb with it, but I am going to go ahead and leave it on there for right now. If I leave it on in the end, it'll probably be covered up, so it won't matter anyway. This one I am going to use. I will weld it to the piece of metal that I'm about to put on the inside of the A-post right now. It'll fit up pretty flush, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now this on the bottom right here, this is where the body actually mounts to the frame. This stretches all the way across the truck. You can see right here, there's the hole where the bolt goes through for the frame. Now I'm actually going to take and I'm going to cut this flange off right here. This part right here, because right there it doesn't come all the way over and meet the inside of the A-post the way that I want. So I'll cut these off, and then I'll just make a new bracket, a new flange that'll come across. It is the correct width, and weld it to this and to the inside of the A-post. That way it'll still be good and strong. It's just a lot easier than trying to, I don't know, some people might put a 1/2-inch piece of hell, I don't know, flat bar or something in between there and weld it, and it's just not going to be strong in the long run. And my kids are going to be riding in this thing, my wife, my family. You know, if I sell it, someone else might have their family in it, and I've got to know that it's safe. So I'm going to go ahead, while I've got it all apart, while I've got it up where I can access it, I'm going to go ahead and chop that off right quick on both sides. Then I'll be ready to punch the holes and get ready to start plug welding this thing once I let it back down in place. All right, so as you can see, I've got my cardboard templates made for my A-posts on both sides. So all I should have to do is pull those back out. I just got to lift the cab back up off of it, pull those cardboard templates out, lay it down on some sheet metal, cut it out, and be ready to drill all the holes to plug weld it and put it together. Episode 7 is a wrap. If you have not done so already, smash that subscribe button. Stay with me. Hang out a while. Watch me build this friggin' man-ass toe pig right here. Matter of fact, don't like smash it. Just like hit it hard. Like go hard at it. Anyhow, I stopped in the middle of that one while I was doing the A-post on it because the next part of it is going to be me cutting all the metal out and doing all the welding, and it would have got really long. This would have been like a 30-minute video, so you're going to have to tune in to episode 8 to see the rest. Come back. It's going to be cool. See you soon.